Welcome to the hidden wealth coins. Imagine holding a single penny so ordinary it slips through your fingers, yet powerful enough to change your destiny overnight. These wheat pennies are not myths or fairy tales. They are silent mistakes of history hiding unimaginable wealth. One wrong spend could destroy millions. One careful look could unlock fortune. Somewhere, in a jar or drawer, a life-changing coin is waiting for you right now this second. Check your change. First up, the 1955 wheat penny is not just a small copper coin. It is one of the most shocking mistakes in American coin history, a silent witness to chaos inside the U.S. Mint that later turned into unimaginable wealth. At first glance, it looks ordinary, almost boring, like something you might find forgotten in an old drawer or mixed with loose change. But hidden within this tiny 1-cent coin is a story so explosive that it has changed lives overnight. This is the kind of coin that does not announce itself with gold or shine. Instead, it hides its power in plain sight, waiting for the right eye to recognize it. Many people have unknowingly spent it on candy, coffee, or bus fare, never realizing they were holding something capable of rewriting their entire future. The real magic of the 1955 wheat penny begins with a mistake so rare that it should never have happened, yet somehow it did. During the minting process, when the coin dies were striking pennies at high speed, something went terribly wrong. One of the dies shifted and struck the coin twice, creating a dramatic doubling that is impossible to ignore once you know what to look for. The date, 1955, the word, liberty, and the famous motto "In God We Trust," appear doubled so boldly that even someone with no coin knowledge can see it instantly. This was not a tiny error visible only under a microscope. This was a loud, screaming mistake that somehow slipped past quality control and entered circulation. What makes this wheat penny truly terrifying is the fact that it was released into everyday use like a normal coin. People received it as change at grocery stores, gas stations, and movie theaters, completely unaware that they were touching a future fortune. Back then, it was worth just 1 cent, no different from any other penny. But time has a strange way of transforming mistakes into miracles. As years passed and collectors began noticing the dramatic doubling, whispers started spreading through the coin world. Slowly, the legend of the 1955 doubled wheat penny was born, and with it came a new understanding. This was not just a coin, it was an accident that money itself could not repeat. The wheat penny design already carried deep symbolism, showing 2 wheat ears on the reverse to represent prosperity, hard work, and growth. Ironically, this exact design became the background for one of the most valuable errors ever created. The front of the coin features Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of honesty and resilience, which makes the error feel almost poetic, as if history itself bent the rules for this one moment. The doubling on Lincoln's portrait gives him a ghost-like appearance, as though 2 timelines collided in metal. This visual chaos is exactly what collectors crave, because it cannot be faked easily and cannot be recreated intentionally. Condition is where the value explodes into unbelievable territory. A worn 1955 doubled wheat penny is already worth thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars, even when it has scratches, fading, or signs of heavy circulation. But when this coin survives in near-perfect or untouched condition, it enters a completely different universe of value. In mint-like condition, with sharp details, strong copper color, and no damage, this coin has reached prices so high that most people refuse to believe them. These are not just big numbers, they are life-altering numbers that can erase debt, buy homes, and create generational wealth. What makes this even more shocking is how few truly high-grade examples exist. Most of these pennies were used, abused, and eventually lost to time. Finding one that looks almost new is like finding a needle in a burning haystack. That scarcity pushes demand into madness, because wealthy collectors compete fiercely for the best examples. When 2 serious buyers want the same perfect coin, logic disappears and price becomes irrelevant. This is where values jump from hundreds of thousands into the realm of millions, not because of hype, but because there is simply nothing else like it available. There are stories that circulate quietly in the coin world about people who discovered this penny in old family jars, inherited collections, or forgotten boxes in basements. These are not fairy tales, they are warnings. One moment, a person thinks they have spare change, and the next moment, experts are telling them they are holding something that could fund their entire life. This is why experienced collectors always say, never rush to sell, never clean the coin, and never trust quick offers. One wrong move can destroy value instantly, turning a fortune into regret. The reason the 1955 wheat penny holds such psychological power is because it represents pure chance. No gold rush, no mining, no lottery ticket, just a simple mistake that survived. It proves that wealth does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers, hides, and waits patiently for decades. This coin forces people to question how many other treasures they might have overlooked in their own homes. That thought alone keeps audiences glued, replaying the idea over and over again. Even today, counterfeiters attempt to fake this coin because of its legendary status, but the genuine examples have a presence that fakes cannot copy. The doubling has depth, alignment, and character that only a real minting error can produce. Serious collectors and professionals can recognize it almost instantly, which means the real coins continue to rise in prestige and price. The more fakes appear, the more valuable authentic pieces become, creating a strange cycle where deception actually strengthens the legend. This penny is not just collected, it is respected. It sits in elite collections, auction catalogs, and private vaults, often unseen by the public. When one appears on the market, it sends shockwaves through the numismatic world. Conversations stop, attention shifts, and wallets open. The coin does not need advertising, its reputation does all the work. That kind of status is rare even among famous coins, and it places the 1955 wheat penny in a class of its own. What truly makes this coin dangerous is how easy it is to underestimate. It weighs almost nothing, fits in a pocket, and looks harmless to the untrained eye. Yet it carries the power to change a person's destiny overnight. Many experts believe that some examples are still undiscovered, sitting silently in old collections, jars, or drawers. That possibility alone keeps hope alive and keeps people searching, examining every penny with new respect. The emotional pull of this coin is intense because it connects history, error, scarcity, and human luck into one object. It reminds us that perfection is not always valuable. Sometimes flaws are what create legends. The doubled letters and numbers, once considered a failure, became the very reason this coin achieved immortality. That lesson goes far beyond money and speaks directly to the human experience, which is why audiences stay engaged until the very last second. If you ever believe you have this coin, patience becomes your greatest weapon. Rushing, cleaning, or selling cheaply can erase its magic instantly. The copper surface tells a story, and any damage rewrites that story forever. This is why those who understand its power treat it not like spare change, but like a historical artifact that demands respect. In the right hands, at the right moment, it can unlock doors most people never even see. Second up, the 1953 wheat penny is one of those coins that looks harmless, almost invisible in the world of everyday money, yet behind its quiet copper face hides a story that can shake a person's entire understanding of wealth. At first glance, it feels ordinary, the kind of coin people ignore without a second thought. But history has a strange habit of planting value where nobody expects it, and the 1953 wheat penny is a perfect example of that silent power. This coin belongs to an era when America was rebuilding confidence, strength, and identity, and that energy somehow became trapped inside a single cent that would later surprise the world. The early 1950s were a time of massive production at the U.S. Mint, with millions of pennies struck quickly to keep up with daily demand. Speed, pressure, and repetition created conditions where subtle differences, tiny flaws, and unexpected variations could appear. While the 1953 wheat penny is not famous for one loud mistake like some other years, its importance lies in something deeper: rarity created by survival. Most of these coins were used heavily, worn down, scratched, and eventually destroyed by time. The few that survived in exceptional condition became something completely different from ordinary money. The wheat penny design itself carries emotional weight. The two wheat stalks on the back symbolize growth, reward for labor, and national stability, while Abraham Lincoln on the front represents honesty and endurance. When a coin with such symbolism survives decades without losing its sharp detail, it begins to feel less like currency and more like a preserved moment in history. The 1953 wheat penny becomes a time capsule, carrying the fingerprint of a nation and the hands of countless people who unknowingly passed it along. What truly transforms the 1953 wheat penny into a potential fortune is condition. In worn condition, it is just a historical curiosity. But when found in exceptionally preserved state, with full mint luster, strong copper color, and razor-sharp details, it enters a completely different world. Coins like this are no longer judged by face value or metal content, They are judged by perfection. Perfection creates scarcity, and scarcity creates obsession among serious collectors with deep pockets and endless patience. Some rare examples of the 1953 wheat penny exist in such extraordinary condition that they appear untouched by time. These coins look as if they were struck and immediately hidden away, protected from circulation, moisture, and damage. When coins like this surface, they cause immediate shock within the collecting community. Prices rise rapidly not because of hype, but because opportunities like this almost never repeat themselves. Once a perfect coin is placed into a private collection, it may disappear for generations. The idea of a 1-cent coin reaching values in the hundreds of thousands or even millions feels unreal to most people, and that disbelief is exactly why these coins continue to slip through hands unnoticed. People assume wealth must be heavy, shiny, or loud. The 1953 wheat penny proves the opposite. Its power lies in subtlety, in survival, and in the quiet passage of time. That contrast between appearance and value is what makes it so dangerous to underestimate. There are whispered stories among collectors of families discovering rare-condition wheat pennies in inherited collections, old envelopes, or forgotten boxes. These moments feel unreal, almost cinematic. 1 second, a person believes they are sorting old coins with little value, and the next moment, experts are speaking in hushed voices, explaining that the coin in front of them could fund an entirely new life. These moments do not happen often, but when they do, they change everything. What adds to the mystery of the 1953 wheat penny is how few people truly understand grading and preservation. A single cleaning attempt, a careless wipe, or even improper storage can erase massive value instantly. The coin's surface is its story, and any disturbance rewrites that story forever. This is why those who recognize its potential treat it with extreme caution, often refusing immediate offers that would seem outrageous to an average person. Collectors who chase coins like the 1953 wheat penny are not just buying metal. They are buying silence, rarity, and control. Owning such a coin places someone in a very small circle of people who possess something most of the world will never see. That exclusivity fuels competition, and competition fuels price. When two determined collectors want the same flawless example, the value stops making sense to outsiders and becomes purely emotional. Another reason this coin continues to rise in legend is the belief that undiscovered examples still exist. Millions were produced, but only a microscopic number survived in elite condition. That possibility keeps hope alive. It keeps people searching drawers, jars, and collections with renewed focus. Every old penny becomes a question mark, and that question keeps the story alive year after year. The 1953 wheat penny also teaches a brutal lesson about patience. Those who rush to sell often lose the most. Wealth connected to rare coins rewards restraint, research, and timing. The right coin sold at the wrong moment can be worth a fraction of what it might command later. This is why experienced voices always warn against quick decisions and low offers disguised as generosity. Emotionally, this coin grips people because it represents unrealized potential. It reminds us that value is not always obvious and that life-changing opportunities can hide in the smallest details. The idea that a single cent could hold the power to erase financial struggle feels almost unfair, yet history proves that it happens. That tension between hope and reality is what keeps audiences watching and listening. As years pass, the 1953 wheat penny continues to drift further from everyday memory and deeper into the world of elite collectibles. Time is not weakening its power, it is sharpening it. Each year that passes reduces the number of surviving high-quality examples and increases demand among those who understand what true rarity looks like. That imbalance ensures that the legend only grows stronger. In the end, the 1953 wheat penny is not just about money, it is about awareness. It is about understanding that fortune does not always arrive with warning signs or loud announcements. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as something ordinary, waiting for the right moment and the right person. If you ever encounter this coin in exceptional condition, remember this: spending it casually could erase a future you never knew was possible, because this tiny piece of copper carries the power to change a life overnight. Third up, the 1951 wheat penny is one of those coins that quietly blends into history, never demanding attention, yet secretly holding the kind of power that can completely flip a person's life. At first glance, it feels like nothing special, just another old copper penny from mid-century America. But the truth is far more intense. This coin was born in a period when the United States was reshaping itself after global conflict, and the pressure, speed, and volume of production during that era created conditions where rarity was not obvious at first, but slowly formed over time. What once passed through countless hands without a second thought has now become a symbol of hidden fortune. In 1951, pennies were produced in massive numbers, meant to fuel everyday commerce. No one imagined that decades later, certain examples from this year would be hunted with obsession. Most of these coins were heavily circulated, scratched, discolored, and eventually lost forever. Survival became the real filter. Only a tiny fraction escaped wear and damage, and those survivors tell a very different story today. The value of the 1951 wheat penny is not born from loud errors, but from scarcity created by time, care, and pure chance. The wheat penny design itself adds emotional depth to this coin's legacy. The twin wheat stalks on the reverse represent effort, reward, and national stability, while Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front stands for integrity and endurance. When this design appears sharply struck, with bold details and original copper tone still alive after decades, the coin stops feeling like money. It becomes a preserved moment of American history, frozen in metal, untouched while the world around it changed. Condition is where the 1951 wheat penny transforms from ordinary to unbelievable. A worn example might tell a nice historical story, but a high-grade example tells a financial one. Coins that survived with strong mint luster, clean surfaces, crisp lettering, and no damage exist in extremely small numbers. These are the coins that collectors chase relentlessly, because once they disappear into private collections, they may never be seen again. That scarcity creates pressure, and pressure creates explosive value. Some elite examples of the 1951 wheat penny appear almost unreal, as if they were struck and immediately hidden away. When such coins surface, they cause instant excitement among serious collectors. These moments are rare, but when they happen, prices can jump dramatically. Wealthy buyers are not paying for copper, they are paying for perfection, history, and exclusivity. In that world, numbers climb quickly and logic fades. The idea that a 1-cent coin could reach values that feel unreal shocks most people, and that disbelief is exactly why these coins remain dangerous to overlook. People expect wealth to shine or feel heavy. The 1951 wheat penny defies that expectation completely. It hides its power in simplicity, proving that the smallest object can carry the greatest impact. That contradiction is what makes this coin so captivating and so easy to underestimate. There are quiet stories among collectors about people discovering rare-condition wheat pennies in old family collections, inherited jars, or forgotten envelopes. These moments feel surreal. One minute, a person believes they are holding spare change. The next, experts are explaining that the coin could be worth more than a lifetime of work. These discoveries are rare, but they are real, and they are the reason people never stop searching. What makes the 1951 wheat penny especially unforgiving is how fragile its value can be. Cleaning, polishing, or even careless handling can erase enormous worth instantly. The surface of the coin is everything. Every mark tells a story, and damaging that story rewrites history in the worst possible way. This is why experienced collectors treat these coins with extreme respect and patience. Collectors who compete for top-grade examples of the 1951 wheat penny are not casual hobbyists. They are determined, disciplined, and willing to wait years for the right opportunity. When two such collectors want the same coin, price becomes secondary. The coin becomes a trophy, a statement, and a piece of history that only one person can own. That emotional competition is where values skyrocket. Another reason this coin continues to grow in legend is the belief that undiscovered elite examples still exist. Millions were made, but almost all were worn down by time. The idea that a few perfect survivors might still be hiding keeps hope alive. It turns every old penny into a possibility, every drawer into a potential vault. That belief fuels constant curiosity and keeps the story alive. Patience plays a brutal role in the fate of this coin. Those who rush often lose the most. The 1951 wheat penny rewards those who wait, research, and understand timing. Selling too quickly or accepting low offers out of excitement can turn a life-changing opportunity into lifelong regret. True value reveals itself only to those willing to slow down. Emotionally, this coin grips people because it represents unrealized potential. It reminds us that life-changing wealth does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as something ordinary, waiting for awareness to unlock it. That idea alone keeps audiences hooked, imagining what might be hiding in their own homes. As time continues to pass, the 1951 wheat penny drifts further from everyday circulation and deeper into the world of elite collectibles. Each year reduces the number of surviving high-quality examples and increases demand among those who truly understand rarity. Time is not weakening this coin's power, it is sharpening it. In the end, the 1951 wheat penny is not just a coin, it is a lesson. A lesson that value is not always obvious, that mistakes and survival create legends, and that unimaginable wealth can exist silently. If you ever come across this coin in exceptional condition, remember this: spending it casually could erase a future you never knew was possible, because this tiny copper cent holds the power to change a life overnight. Fourth up, the 1948 wheat penny is one of those coins that feels invisible to the modern world, yet carries a weight far heavier than its copper body suggests. Born just after a time of global upheaval, this coin entered circulation when people were focused on rebuilding lives, not preserving pennies. That distraction is exactly what allowed this coin's future value to grow quietly. At the time, it was nothing more than spare change, passed from hand to hand without thought. Today, it stands as proof that history sometimes hides its greatest treasures in the smallest places. When the 1948 wheat penny was struck, the U.S. Mint was operating under intense pressure to supply everyday money for a rapidly moving economy. Speed mattered more than perfection, and volume mattered more than preservation. Most of these coins were used hard, dropped into pockets, scraped across counters, and worn down by daily life. Time became ruthless, eliminating almost all high-quality survivors. What remains today is not common currency, but rare evidence of survival against decades of damage. The design of the wheat penny gives the 1948 issue emotional depth. The wheat ears on the reverse symbolize growth, recovery, and reward after struggle, while Abraham Lincoln's portrait represents endurance and moral strength. This symbolism feels especially powerful when attached to a coin born in a recovery era. When a 1948 wheat penny survives in exceptional condition, it feels almost intentional, as if it was preserved to remind future generations that even the most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary meaning. Condition is where the 1948 wheat penny separates itself from the crowd. A heavily worn example may hold modest interest, but a sharply preserved one belongs to an entirely different universe. Coins that still show strong original luster, deep copper color, crisp lettering, and clean surfaces are extraordinarily rare. These are the examples that collectors chase relentlessly, because once they vanish into private collections, they may never reappear. Scarcity at this level turns curiosity into obsession. Some of the finest surviving 1948 wheat pennies appear almost unreal, as if time chose to skip over them. When such coins surface, the reaction is immediate and intense. Collectors understand that opportunities like this may come once in a lifetime. In those moments, price stops being rational and becomes emotional. Buyers are no longer purchasing a coin, they are securing a position in history, and they are willing to pay whatever it takes. The idea that a 1-cent coin could be linked to values reaching into the millions feels impossible to most people, and that disbelief is exactly why these coins are so dangerous to overlook. People associate wealth with size, shine, or weight. The 1948 wheat penny breaks that rule completely. It proves that value can exist quietly, disguised as something ordinary, waiting for knowledge to unlock it. That contrast is what makes this coin so powerful. There are quiet, almost unbelievable stories of people discovering rare-condition wheat pennies in inherited collections, old jars, or forgotten boxes tucked away for decades. These moments are not loud or dramatic at first. They begin with confusion, then curiosity, and finally shock. One moment, it is just an old penny. The next, it is a conversation about life-changing money. These discoveries are rare, but they are real, and they keep the legend alive. What makes the 1948 wheat penny especially unforgiving is how easily its value can be destroyed. Cleaning the coin, polishing it, or even handling it carelessly can erase enormous worth in seconds. The surface is everything. It tells the coin's story, and once that story is damaged, it can never be fully restored. This is why serious collectors treat such coins with extreme caution and patience. Collectors who compete for elite examples of the 1948 wheat penny are not casual hobbyists. They are disciplined, informed, and willing to wait years for the right coin. When two such collectors desire the same flawless example, logic disappears. The coin becomes a trophy, a statement, and a piece of history that only one person can own. That emotional battle is where values explode. Another reason this coin continues to gain legendary status is the belief that undiscovered high-grade examples still exist. Millions were produced, but almost all were worn down by time. The idea that a few perfect survivors may still be hiding keeps people searching. Every old penny becomes a possibility, every drawer a potential vault. Hope fuels curiosity, and curiosity keeps the story alive. Patience plays a brutal role in the fate of the 1948 wheat penny. Those who rush often lose the most. Accepting quick offers or selling without understanding the coin's true potential can turn a life-changing opportunity into permanent regret. True value reveals itself slowly, and only to those willing to wait and learn. Emotionally, this coin captures attention because it represents unrealized potential. It reminds people that fortune does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, unnoticed, waiting for awareness to give it meaning. That idea alone is powerful enough to keep audiences listening, imagining what might be hidden in their own homes. As the years continue to pass, the 1948 wheat penny drifts further from everyday memory and deeper into the world of elite collectibles. Each year reduces the number of surviving top-quality examples and increases demand among those who truly understand rarity. Time is not weakening this coin's power, it is sharpening it. In the end, the 1948 wheat penny is not just a coin. It is a reminder that unimaginable wealth can hide in plain sight, that history rewards patience, and that a single cent can hold the power to change a life overnight. If you ever come across this coin in exceptional condition, remember this: spending it casually could be the most expensive mistake you ever make, because this tiny copper penny carries the power to rewrite your future in a single moment. Fifth up, the 1944 wheat penny is not just a coin from the past. It is one of the most dramatic symbols of how history, war, and chance can collide to create unimaginable wealth. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than an old copper penny, the kind people overlook without hesitation. But hidden within this single cent is a story born from global conflict, urgency, and rare survival. This coin came into existence when the world was still shaking from war, and that pressure left behind something far more valuable than anyone could have imagined at the time. In 1944, the United States was fully committed to supporting the war effort, and every material mattered. Metal shortages, rushed production, and non-stop demand pushed the minting process to its limits. Pennies were produced quickly and in massive quantities, meant to circulate, not to be saved. Most of them were spent immediately, worn down by daily use, and eventually disappeared. Yet within that chaos, a few extraordinary survivors emerged, and those survivors would later become the center of one of the most fascinating value stories in American coin history. The wheat penny design already carried meaning long before 1944. The wheat stalks on the reverse symbolized growth, reward, and endurance, while Abraham Lincoln's portrait represented honesty and resilience. When this design was struck during a time of war, it took on even deeper significance. A 1944 wheat penny in exceptional condition feels like a frozen moment from history, preserved while the world around it changed forever. That emotional weight adds to its power and its appeal. What separates the 1944 wheat penny from many other years is how extreme the gap is between ordinary examples and extraordinary ones. Most are common, worn, and historically interesting but financially modest. However, the few that survived in near-perfect or untouched condition entered an entirely different reality. These coins show sharp details, strong original color, and surfaces that appear almost untouched by time. When coins like this surface, they no longer behave like spare change, they behave like rare artifacts. Condition is everything, and in the case of the 1944 wheat penny, condition can mean the difference between a curiosity and a fortune. Coins that escaped scratches, corrosion, and careless handling are unbelievably scarce. These are the examples collectors fight over, because once one enters a private collection, it may vanish from the market for decades. Scarcity at that level creates intensity, and intensity drives values into territory most people never expect from a 1-cent coin. The idea that a penny from 1944 could be connected to million-level value sounds unreal, almost offensive to logic. That disbelief is exactly why people make costly mistakes. They assume wealth must be obvious, heavy, or shining. The 1944 wheat penny destroys that assumption. It proves that wealth can be small, quiet, and easily ignored. That contradiction is what gives this coin its dangerous power. There are real stories, shared quietly among collectors, of people discovering remarkable 1944 wheat pennies in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten boxes. These moments never begin with excitement. They begin with confusion, then curiosity, then shock. One moment, it is just an old penny. The next, experts are explaining that it could be worth more than a lifetime of work. These stories keep the legend alive and keep people searching. What makes the 1944 wheat penny especially unforgiving is how easily its value can be destroyed. Cleaning it, polishing it, or even touching it improperly can erase enormous worth instantly. The coin's surface tells its story, and once that story is damaged, it cannot be fully repaired. This is why knowledgeable collectors treat such coins with extreme care and patience, often refusing quick offers that seem generous to everyone else. Collectors who chase top-grade 1944 wheat pennies are not casual hobbyists. They are disciplined, informed, and relentless. When two serious collectors want the same flawless example, price becomes emotional rather than logical. The coin turns into a symbol of victory, history, and exclusivity. In those moments, numbers rise quickly, and the value can shock even seasoned observers. Another reason the 1944 wheat penny continues to grow in legend is the belief that undiscovered elite examples still exist. Millions were produced, but almost all were worn down by circulation. The possibility that a few perfect survivors remain hidden keeps hope alive. Every old penny becomes a question, every drawer a potential answer. That sense of possibility fuels endless fascination. Patience is the silent test behind this coin's story. Those who rush often lose the most. Selling too quickly or accepting low offers out of excitement can turn a life-changing opportunity into permanent regret. The 1944 wheat penny rewards those who wait, learn, and understand timing. True value reveals itself slowly, not instantly. Emotionally, this coin grips people because it represents unrealized potential. It reminds us that history does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it hides quietly, waiting for awareness to unlock it. The idea that a single cent could hold the power to erase financial struggle is powerful enough to keep any audience listening. As time continues to pass, the 1944 wheat penny moves further from everyday memory and deeper into elite collecting circles. Each year reduces the number of surviving top-quality examples and increases demand among those who truly understand rarity. Time is not weakening this coin's power, it is sharpening it. In the end, the 1944 wheat penny is not just money. It is a reminder that unimaginable wealth can hide in plain sight, that history rewards patience, and that a single cent can carry the power to change a life overnight. If you ever encounter this coin in exceptional condition, remember this: spending it casually could be the most expensive mistake of your life, because this small copper penny holds the power to rewrite your future in a single moment. Sixth up. The 1935 wheat penny is one of those coins that quietly slipped into history without noise, without fame, and without warning, yet today it stands as a symbol of how unimaginable wealth can hide in plain sight. At the time of its birth, this penny was nothing special, just a small copper coin used during one of the most difficult economic periods America had ever faced. People were struggling, counting every cent, and survival mattered more than preservation. That reality is exactly what makes this coin so powerful today, because almost no one thought to protect it. In 1935, the United States was still feeling the deep scars of economic hardship. Pennies were not collected, admired, or saved, they were spent immediately. The U.S. Mint produced these coins in huge numbers, pushing them into circulation as fast as possible to keep daily life moving. Most were worn down quickly, scratched, damaged, and eventually lost forever. Time acted like a ruthless filter, destroying almost everything and quietly selecting only a tiny number of survivors. The wheat penny design itself carries deep symbolism that becomes even stronger when tied to this era. The wheat stalks on the reverse represent survival, labor, and hope, while Abraham Lincoln's portrait represents strength and honesty in times of uncertainty. When a 1935 wheat penny survives decades with its details intact, it becomes more than money. It becomes a physical memory of endurance, a silent witness to an era when every cent mattered. What makes the 1935 wheat penny truly dangerous to underestimate is condition. In worn form, it is just a historical artifact. But in exceptionally preserved condition, it transforms into something entirely different. Coins that still show sharp lettering, clean surfaces, deep original color, and untouched detail are unbelievably rare. These are the examples that collectors chase obsessively, because once they disappear into private collections, they may never return to the market. Some surviving 1935 wheat pennies appear almost unreal, as if time simply forgot to touch them. When such coins surface, the reaction among serious collectors is immediate. Silence falls, attention sharpens, and competition ignites. In those moments, value stops being logical and becomes emotional. Buyers are not paying for copper, they are paying for survival, rarity, and history locked inside a single cent. The idea that a penny from 1935 could be connected to values reaching into the millions feels impossible to most people, and that disbelief is exactly why mistakes happen. People assume wealth must be loud, shiny, or heavy. The 1935 wheat penny destroys that belief completely. Its power lies in how ordinary it looks and how extraordinary it truly is. That contrast is what makes it one of the most dangerous coins to ignore. There are quiet stories shared among collectors about people discovering remarkable wheat pennies in old family jars, inherited boxes, or forgotten envelopes. These moments never begin with excitement. They begin with curiosity, then confusion, and finally shock. One moment, it is just an old penny. The next, experts are explaining that it could change everything. These stories are rare, but they are real, and they keep hope alive. What makes the 1935 wheat penny especially unforgiving is how fragile its value can be. Cleaning it, polishing it, or even touching it carelessly can erase enormous worth instantly. The surface of the coin is its identity. Every mark tells a story, and damaging that surface rewrites history in the worst possible way. This is why experienced collectors handle such coins with extreme care and patience. Collectors who pursue elite examples of the 1935 wheat penny are not casual hobbyists. They are disciplined, informed, and relentless. When two serious collectors want the same flawless coin, price becomes irrelevant. The coin turns into a symbol of victory, ownership, and historical control. In those moments, numbers climb rapidly, often shocking those watching from the outside. Another reason this coin continues to grow in legend is the belief that undiscovered top-quality examples still exist. Millions were produced, but almost all were destroyed by time and use. The idea that a few perfect survivors might still be hiding keeps people searching. Every old penny becomes a question, every drawer a possibility. That belief fuels endless fascination. Patience is the silent weapon behind the 1935 wheat penny story. Those who rush often lose the most. Accepting quick offers or selling without understanding the coin's full potential can turn a life-changing opportunity into permanent regret. True value reveals itself only to those willing to wait and learn. Emotionally, this coin grips people because it represents unrealized potential. It reminds us that fortune does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as something ordinary, waiting for awareness to unlock it. That idea alone is powerful enough to keep any audience listening. As the years continue to pass, the 1935 wheat penny moves further away from everyday memory and deeper into the world of elite collectibles. Each year reduces the number of surviving high-grade examples and increases demand among those who truly understand rarity. Time is not weakening this coin's power, it is sharpening it. In the end, the 1935 wheat penny is not just a coin. It is a reminder that unimaginable wealth can hide silently, that history rewards patience, and that a single cent can hold the power to change a life overnight. If you ever encounter this coin in exceptional condition, remember this: spending it casually could be the most expensive mistake of your life, because this tiny copper penny carries the power to rewrite your future in a single moment.